Oh my. Well, winter has returned and it's snowing already. It's time to get the snow tires back on. I like to generally wait until it is snowing before I put the snow tires on, because since they're such a soft compound, without snow and ice on the roads, they wear down really fast. Now that the roads are getting slick and it's snowing, we're going to switch them out and get these old tires off of there. We put a lot of miles on these tires this summer and they're pretty much done. We're not even going to be able to put them back on when the weather gets nice again. We're going to have them changed out with new ones.
What did that take, like 10 seconds? 20 seconds?
A lot quicker than our older ones. We had a few comments last year when we were changing our tires about saying that maybe we should keep our mud tires on instead of putting on the snow tires, and that's just not a good idea. I've tried to use the mud tires in the snow and on the icy roads here. They are extremely dangerous, to say the least. They might work in really deep snow, but on hard-packed ice and snow, these are so much better because, for one, when it gets really cold, the mud tires, they can't flex enough. The tread can't flex enough to grip the road, whereas these snow tires have a lot softer of a compound that is good to a lower temperature, so it can still grip the road. And they also have a ton of siping in the tread that allows it to grip on the ice. And most other tires just don't have that. Makes a huge difference overall. The safety factor is just incredible. You can drive almost highway speeds with pretty much no noticeable difference than a dry road, really.
So it's not been a brake pad this whole time?
No, there's like rocks.
It's literally
stuck
been
in
a
there.
rock. Like, look at it all on the ground.
Right here. I wanted to share something interesting that I've learned since I've been here that maybe will help someone else. We've had a lot of tires that have had air leaks. I think because of the crazy temperature fluctuations, when it gets really cold, they will start to leak in strange spots, especially valve stems. So I've actually had to change a couple of valve stems since we've been here to keep them from leaking, and they weren't even that old. What I found is whenever I would have a low tire during the winter, I would try to air up the tire. And first I would try with my regular compressor, which it's just a cheap compressor, but it's been working great. I've had it for a long time, but it's so cold here that the compressor can't even turn over. The oil must basically turn into wax. And I think maybe you could put lower weight oil in there, but it's probably not good for the compressor itself. So really it's something that you would have to bring inside and warm up just so it would work. And that's not very convenient. So then I found this. I found this online for like 15 bucks, and you put a little rechargeable battery in it. I was thinking this is going to be the perfect ticket because I only have to fill up a tire every once in a while in a weird spot, and I don't want to have to start a generator just to fill up this because we can't just plug in. Our inverter wouldn't power that. So I got this, and I was really skeptical because of the price. I was like, this thing's probably not that great, but it worked good for about 10 times, and then the hose blew out. And it looks like it's crimped on there, and you can't actually take it out to replace the hose. So unfortunately, that didn't last long. So then I had this trusty old truck air. I don't know what kind of brand it is. It says it's made in USA. It's been around for a long time. I was trying to use this last winter because I was thinking this is an oilless. It should work in the cold, right? No, it would not work in the cold. It quit. It ran for maybe like 4 seconds really slow, and then it just locked up. So I don't know if it had moisture in it and it ruined it or something. who knows? So it's just been a total nightmare with trying to air up tires, and none of the cheap stuff worked out for me. So we ended up breaking down and getting a Milwaukee one, which all of our tools already take Milwaukee batteries. So I'm hoping that maybe this is the ticket and maybe this thing will last a little bit longer. We'll see. We've only used it a handful of times now, so it could be a total pile of junk too. Who knows? We'll find out. I'm hoping it's better, but we'll try it this winter when it's in the negative temperatures and see if it actually works. We need a directional tire that goes the other way.
By the time we got home with our roofing and our hay, it was about 10 p.m. And so we just left everything on the trailer, and that's why we unloaded everything now. And I believe since we're supposed to get about 8 inches of snow tomorrow, we're going to work on getting this covered so that way the snow doesn't blow in on top of our fresh hay.
This should pretty much get us through winter. It should be a winter supply at least. We are up to 10 goats now, and as some of them are getting bigger, they are going to be eating more. So we're not exactly sure how much they're going to go through, but what we're going to do is temporarily we're going to screw some plywood on here and some cross bracing just so that this is enclosed and it's not, the wind's not whipping snow in there, and it'll get us out of the weather a little bit when we're milking the goats on the stand as well. What's going to hold this thing from collapsing this winter?
Like right there. Okay. Doesn't even fit on that side. Barely.
Oh no, I didn't dig it out enough.
It's not pretty, but it does its job. It will be nice to not have the wind like whipping through here, trying to milk the goat. Maisie mooses! What are you doing, big boy?
Slowly. Go on, slowly.
What do you think of the snow?
He's like, aren't you coming? Slippery. Visiting the goat.
Did you have to go say hi to the goats? You wanted to go say hi to the goats? Look how snowy he is. Oh, go inside. I want to go inside.
Alright, you monsters. Hungry hippos.
Mm-hmm.
All this plastic snow out of the run.
Yeah. They're all trying to come out in the snow regardless.
Here's your water. Look out. They're still laying really well.
Yeah, they are. We're getting ready to milk Rosie, and it helps to already have grain in her feeder up here. We've been working with her for a couple months now since she's kidded, and we're training her to get really used to the milking stand and want to be up here. And she absolutely loves this grain, so once it's already in here, we can pretty much let her out, and she runs right up here, puts her head right in, and starts eating before we even have to come in here. You ready to be milked? You ready to be milked? All right, hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Let's go. What's the snow? Finelli, she don't want to play with you. Come on. That's a good girl. Oh, you're being so good. You're so good. To get her used to milking without kicking, we do have to hobble her. And what that means is we put one of her rear legs up in this rope. And she's been doing pretty well with that. We haven't had to hobble both legs. Good girl. All right. I always start off by cleaning her udders really well with warm soapy water to get any loose debris or anything off there. Here, let's set you back up. I always do a squirt from each udder as well into a small bowl. You can use a strip cup if you want. I just use this, and it's just to check and make sure there's no lumps or anything in the milk, and to make sure her udders are cleaned out for milking. Right now from Rosie, we're getting about 2.5 cups per milking, and her babies are 11 weeks, just under 11 weeks old, so we have about a week and a half left before we're going to completely cold turkey them from milk, and then we're going to start milking her twice a day, and I think that we're going to get roughly 4 cups of milk a day from her. She is an excellent milker, in our opinion, and when we got these goats, we picked up the herd of 5 of them. They all needed a home, and we were newer to goats, and we really didn't want to start off with kids. And since they all needed a home, we just decided to get the whole herd. And what we found with this first kidding, since we've had them, is that she is a nice sized goat, and she has nice udders, and it's really easy to milk her, and she produces a good amount of milk. Bethel also had a baby, and unfortunately we found with her that she's not a good milk goat. Her udders are very small and she's very hard to milk, and she doesn't produce a lot of milk. I think when we tried to milk her, we got maybe an eighth of a cup of milk. It really wasn't much at all. And we could use a milk machine, and we do have a milk machine, but I prefer to hand milk, especially with Rosie, and especially with them getting used to being on the milking stand, before putting a milking machine on them, because it kind of spooked Rosie when we tried it, and it really only takes about 5 minutes to milk her down. Essentially, the end goal with our goats is to have a couple of high quality milking does that really produce quite a bit of milk. We do go through a lot of milk and a lot of milk products like coffee creamer and half and half, and we really want to be able to cut that completely out of our grocery bill. And while bales of hay up here are pretty expensive, they're about $28 a bale of hay, with the cost of the milk and the creamer being as high as it is up here, it really does even out, especially if we're only going down to feeding really good quality milking does and a buck to breed them with every season. She's not impressed.
Her hooves looked really rough when we first got her, but they've become very healthy since we've gotten her. They look really good now. We're still trying to work on the shape of this back one. It's still trying to grow back correctly, I guess. But overall improvement, I'd say, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Compared to where we started with them. I know. Your leg's probably falling asleep. Hold on. Just want to trim some off the back there.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and strain the milk a second time. I really like this little container. It's actually a bacon grease separator or strainer, and it's got this really nice fine mesh top that gets all of the hair and dirt and debris out of there. I know a lot of people use cheesecloth, but this is super fine mesh that it seems to work really well. And then what I do is I have another super fine strainer, and that catches anything else that might have gotten through the debris, or the strainer. Alright, she gave us just 2 cups today. Unless we need milk right away, we try and put everything directly in the freezer to keep it as fresh as possible. So we got these little silicone containers, and it makes perfect 1 cup portions of milk. So we just pour them in here, and once they freeze, we put them in a bag. Eventually, when we get a bigger fridge, once we're in our cabin, I would like to keep more milk in there so that way we can make fresh cheeses. But for now, this makes it super easy, so we can just pop a cube out whenever we need it and put it in a jar right in our fridge. Here's a bag of all of our milk cubes. We have a couple of these going in here. All of the babies are separated with their respective mothers, with the exception of the doeling. She has to be completely separated from the boys because they're Nigerian dwarfs and they're already of reproductive age, and we don't want to have any accidental breedings with her. So they all get supervised playtime, and since this is their first snow, we want to bring them out and see what they think. This is the little doeling, and you may be wondering why she's wearing a coat. And unfortunately, about 6 weeks ago, we actually almost lost her. So she's been being bottle fed, and since there's 3 babies, she really had to fight for her milk, and the boys are so aggressive that they really take it all. So we've been bottle feeding her to get her back up to health, and she really can't regulate her body temperature very well either. So we have the coat on when the temperature gets pretty low, so that way she can stay warm. And the boys haven't needed that, and they're like double her size, so I think that they're ready to be weaned next week. Oh, who is that? Is that your brothers? Is that your brothers? Look, that's your brother. Get him. Get him. They are not having it. Think about the snow. What do we think about it? Are we not having it? Can you go play with your brothers instead of chewing on me? I'm gonna pick you up. Oh, you're so heavy. You're so heavy. I know. Attached at the hip. Oh, now you're gonna be quiet because I'm holding you. Nope. Well, come here. This one's the only one that doesn't care about being away from Mama. She's gonna be the sweetest doe when she gets older. So Bethel actually had a baby about a month after Rosie did, and that's her little boy. And he came out quite a bit smaller than them, but he's catching up pretty quick. He's a lot quieter than them. These two are almost the same size. Like, one of you hold me.
I think it's too sticky.
Too sticky. Nope, that didn't work. Dang.
Come here and stay in it. Do a trick.
Sure. What kind of trick are you gonna do?
I don't have none. Almost doesn't reach. Chances they go on.
Slim. Oh, that one.
They're not frozen.
Holy cow. That was easier than I anticipated.
They're not frozen yet.
Yeah.
I think there's ice down in the...
Oh, there might be.
Still latches, that's okay. Double the danger. We're out here switching to our snow tracks on our side-by-side. So we're taking the regular tires off, switching these on. They're kind of like switching tires out. There is one extra bracket that you have to hook up that just locates it to keep it from flipping when you're putting these on. So it takes just a little bit more time than switching tires out. We ended up finding these used on Marketplace last year when we were looking for an older snow machine to buy, and they were about a quarter of the price of what they are new, and they look like they had just sat in a garage their entire life. They basically look brand new. The treads are hardly touched. I decided we're going to go ahead and go this route instead of a new snow machine because we already know this is reliable and this can haul a lot of weight. After all the snow machines that we're looking at were kind of out of our price range for a decent one. I mean, especially if you look at new ones, they're 15 to 20,000 for a nice wide track model, which is way out there. So we picked these up and they're kind of a pain to switch out, but for now this is a good alternative for us to be able to get down to our spring and haul water up and down the hill until maybe one day we get a snow machine. Maybe we don't know.
Like, how wide do you want this?
You got to make it the width of the...
We came down here to the spring to pick up our water tank. A couple of weeks ago when temperatures started to get below freezing, Chris did come down and unhook it so that way it wouldn't freeze. But we're gonna go pick up this tank and take it up so that way it doesn't get buried in all this snow. Yeah, the tank.
Yeah, just hold it there for a second.
A project that we've been wanting to work on before it gets too bitter cold is building goat houses. And we already built one for the moms and the babies in the log cabin where they are. And it works really well to help their body heat just generate a lot of warmth while they're sleeping. So we haven't been able to build one yet for the goats that are in the outside pen. So that's what we're going to work on now. And essentially what it'll do is it'll get them out of the really cold weather so that way they can be nice and warm while they sleep. Heard more snow falling off of it.
A lot of it fell.
Look how much of it came off though. Look out.
We have a lot of scraps left over from doing this cabin, so we're using some of these to put on these end walls that we can, just to use them up.
I know. That's what he's been doing since you walked. Oh gosh, no, he went back there.
They're all in the smallest spot possible.
Oh my gosh.
In the whole building.
Why are we back there? All of us.
Oh, gross. Eating that.
I don't understand. Him and Hurdy-Gurdy are eating it. What are you doing, Pablo? What about you, Maisie Moose? Yeah. Maybe.
Higher?
That's probably good. What do you...
If you've seen our older goat video where we made this hay feeder, we found out that the type of fencing that we put on there was not nearly strong enough for goats with horns, because they used it as a play toy and they kept sticking their horns in it until they broke it all loose. So this summer I ended up putting a piece of hog panel on there instead, and it's much stronger now. Come and get your hay. She's like, I'm not shy.
You have hay all over you.
I like how the fluffy one is while she's on her knees.
Well. I'm really happy with how this goat house turned out, and I think it's going to work really well. Where the moms and the babies are, when you reach your hand in their goat house, it's really warm in there from all their body heat. And so I think that this will be really good for them. We wanted to make this goat house big enough so that way when the 3 bucklings move over here, when they're old enough, they can all fit in there and keep warm throughout the winter. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.